This is music, and this is a primitive first impressions video. Welcome to another first impressions video. In these videos, I share with you my first impressions of the many blind buys I've picked up lately. I only have 4 CDs to talk about this time. They were all part of a 10 CD haul I picked up at the Accord outlet here in Copenhagen. Some of them were actually randomly picked out like this because I had to get up to 10 CDs for an extra discount to kick in. And this here was actually a random pick. Uh, I I'm a huge fan of early Sepultura, but I lost interest in anything Sepultura related after Max Cavalera left, including all the projects he's been involved in. So I actually hadn't heard this one before, but to me this is the next logical step from Roots. So this is probably what the next Sepultura album after Max Cavalera left might have sounded like. So it's that simple, straightforward, very groovy style of metal with influences from world music, to the point that back in the day, people called this style tribal metal, which is probably a problematic term, I don't know. Nowadays, people consider both this and Roots and Chaos AD to be new metal. I am hesitant to share that opinion. To me, this stuff came out before new metal was a thing. So if anything, this stuff just paved the way for a bunch of new metal bands. I never considered this. I mean, when I say this, I'm actually talking about Roots and Chaos AD. I never considered that to be new metal. You can definitely hear on a lot of the riffage in new metal that they were trying to sound a bit like both Soulfly and Sepultura, but a lot of those riffs are like pale imitations of this stuff and Roots and stuff. Anyways, I really like this one. I liked the all the stuff I just mentioned. I like the use of a lot of guest performers, Tom Araya. You got some rappers as well. I like the world music influences. I don't know if it's Max playing it, but there's like a theme that's played on the berimbau that kind of pops up in a couple of songs on here. Sounds like it's a berimbau viola. Those of you who don't know the berimbau, it's a traditional Brazilian instrument. It's basically string, one string on a stick, and then you got a hollowed out gird that kind of serves as an amplifier. And it has a very, very distinct and almost like haunting sound. Uh, the three types, there's the berimbau gunga, which is like the bass berimbau. It has a very dark sound. And then you have the berimbau meche, which is kind of the rhythm guitar version of the berimbau. And then you have the berimbau viola, which is kind of the lead berimbau. It has a very bright tone. And it sounds like whoever plays the berimbau one here plays the viola. And I really like all those world music influences. So I had a blast listening to this one. Up next, we got this one here, Ugly Kid Joe, Motel California. Probably an obscure Ugly Kid Joe release, but then again, I think anything they released that isn't as ugly as they want to be and America's Least Wanted is obscure, sadly. This one is really good. This one is very groovy. To me, it sounds like they took a lot of cues from groove metal, but it's obviously not as heavy as groove metal. They put out another album called Menace to Sobriety, which is much heavier than this one. This one is also very funky, like almost like in the vein of some Rage Against the Machine every now and then. There's even a song on here called Rage Against the Answering Machine, which is kind of a comedy song where you have answering machine messages as the vocals. And it's kind of a shame because the main riff in that song is actually really awesome. So I think this is a great kind of 90s funky, groovy, metal, hard rock album. The vocals are really good in this one. absolutely one of the big highlights. So I enjoyed this one. I had a blast too. Up next, Van Halen 2. I'm not a big Van Halen fan. That doesn't mean I don't like Van Halen. Just means it's not a band I took the time to explore. But recently I've been interested in picking up Van Halen stuff on cassettes, vinyl, CDs, I don't care. So when I saw that I could actually buy this one at a very, very favorable price, I obviously grabbed it. This, I think, is a very good album. You got some hard rocking tunes on here, but it's not as hard rocking as I expected. Obviously, the musicianship is fantastic. The solos, the riffs, it's all amazing. And there are some really good songs on here, like Out of Love Again. I think it's a great song. Light Up the Sky as well. And Women in Love and Beautiful Girls are pretty good songs too. And you have some decent songs on here as well. So I think this is a very good album, but it's kind of like a pop album disguised as a hard rock album. This will make a lot of Van Halen fans angry, I'm sure, but I'm pretty sure that it's this pop sensibility along with the amazing musicianship that made this band as popular as they were. So when I say it's a pop album disguised as a hard rock album, that's a compliment. Uh, it's a David Lee Roth fronted album, and I think he's a good singer. I think he does a great job on this one, but I like Sammy Hagar's voice better. I just like his vocals better. I don't have a dog in the Hagar versus Roth fight. I don't care. I just like Sammy Hagar's voice better. But yeah, this is good. Uh, it definitely has encouraged me to try and pick up some more David Lee Roth fronted Van Halen. And up last, this was another random pick. I have actually heard this one before. Uh, Way back in 2005 when it came out, I found myself in a record store in Odense, which is a city here in Denmark where I used to live. That's where Hans Christian Andersen was born, but he hated the place and he left for Copenhagen as soon as he could. People from Odense kind of tend not to mention that part of it, but whatever. Anyways, I was in a record store picking up some death metal albums and some prog metal albums. And the clerk was super excited and said, "You gotta check this one out. You gotta check this one out. Take the CD, go to our stereo and listen to it, and you're gonna love it." And I went and I checked it out. I came back and I said, "Yeah, this is good, but I don't think I'm gonna pick it up." And he was like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll just take those Suffocation and Fate's Warning albums." He was very disappointed, but obviously he sold me those other albums. So I picked this one up because it was super cheap now, right? In the Accord outlet. Gave it a spin, and I was immediately reminded why I didn't buy it back then. Because it's very inspired by 70s hard rock, and it's kind of pseudo psychedelic, retro, hard rock. And it's not bad, but back then it wasn't the style of music that I was interested in. Back then, I preferred the real deal, like real 70s hard rock or prog metal, death metal, thrash, whatever. So that's why I didn't pick it up back then. I quite enjoyed it this time around for sure. Um, it still sounds a bit derivative, if I'm being honest, like inspired by 70s hard rock, but not quite sounding authentic, if you know what I mean. But I enjoyed it. The vocals reminded me a lot of Trouble. And there were some songs that actually stood out to me that I thought were great, and the rest of the songs were enjoyable. So I'm glad I picked this one up this time around. And this is an album I will probably listen to like every now and then if I need some music in the background. So there you go for pretty good CDs. But as usual, check them out on your own, see if you like them. For now, thanks for watching.